Hey, so you made it. This is the last lesson, lesson number 6 of part 1 of module 5, Know What Matters. Next week, we're going to be doing part 2 of this module. But in this lesson, we're going to do an exercise called the bullseye. Okay, so if you've written about your values, or at the very least thought long and hard about them, then it's time to fill in the bullseye. So you can download the handout from below this video. Again, I recommend you pause the video now to do that and then come back and press play. So before you get into this exercise, I do recommend that you read through your answers from the life values questionnaire, because those are going to impact your answers with the bullseye. Okay, so make an X in each area of the dartboard on the handout, the bullseye handout, to represent where you stand today. So an X in the bullseye, the center of the board, means that you are living fully by your values in that area of your life. An X far from the bullseye means that you are way off the mark in terms of living by your values. Okay, so put an X in each area of the dartboard on the handout to represent where you stand today. Now, since there are 4 areas of valued living, you should mark 4 X's on the dartboard. So 1 to represent each of the 4 areas you completed in the life values questionnaire. Okay, so again, feel free to pause the video here, complete the bullseye, then come back and play the rest of the video. Okay, so what does this exercise tell you about what is important in your life and what you are currently neglecting, avoiding, or missing out on? Did you have trouble completing it because it brought up uncomfortable thoughts and feelings? Often when we connect with our values, we realize that we've been neglecting them for a long time, and this can be very painful. But this is not an excuse to beat yourself up. Okay, that's not why we're doing this. The fact is, all of us lose touch with our values at times and act out in self-defeating ways. Dwelling on that, though, is pointless because there's nothing we can do to change the past. So what's important is to connect with our values here and now and to use them to guide and motivate our actions from this point onward. So if your mind does start beating up on you, simply thank it and gently pull your focus back to the exercise. Now, it's possible you have found that you skipped parts of this exercise. Okay, was that you? Or maybe even parts of the life values questionnaire, or avoided answering the questions because you fused with unhelpful thoughts like, this is too hard, I can't be bothered, I don't know if these are my real values, or I'm just setting myself up for disappointment. Now, if this is the case, not to worry. Next week, we're going to go into troubleshooting these common concerns in part 2 of module 5. For now, let's take a look back over your answers and reflect on them. Okay, so let's take a look at your answers to the bullseye. Ask yourself, which of the above values are the most important to me? Which of them am I actively living by right now? Which of them am I most neglecting? Which are the most important to start working on right away? If you notice, these are the same questions I asked you after the life values questionnaire, and that's not a coincidence. Now that you've done the bullseye, you have a broader picture of where you need to prioritize your values. Okay, so write down your answers to these 4 questions and hold on to these answers because you're going to need them for next week. All right, so great work this week. As I've mentioned, I recommend you really take some time and be serious about completing the life values questionnaire and the bullseye exercise. That is your home play for this week. In addition to that, kind of as an added piece of home play, I'd advise you to consider discussing your values with your friends and loved ones. Okay, discuss your values. Let people that you care about know what matters to you. And that can serve as kind of a form of accountability too. Write about those values in more detail. Consider journaling about them, or writing in whatever manner best fits you. And look for opportunities to act on them in daily life. Okay, so your base homework for this week is to complete the Life Values Questionnaire and the Bullseye exercise in complete detail. Plus, I also recommend that you discuss your values with your friends and loved ones, you write about those values in more detail, and you look for opportunities to act on them in daily life. So be mindful of your values and what's important to you. Okay, so our lives revolve around relationships with other people, with ourselves, with our bodies, with our work, with our environment. The more you act in line with your values, the better will be the quality of those relationships, and therefore the more enjoyable and rewarding your life will be. That I can guarantee you. So next week, we're going to look at how you can use your values to set purposeful goals, create meaning, and find fulfillment. Plus, as I mentioned, we're going to be troubleshooting some of the more common concerns that come up around values. Okay, so I hope you have a great week ahead. I look forward to seeing you back here again in 1 week. Take care.